I talk about social media strategy a lot on this channel, and I think it's about time that you hear some tips and tricks on how to build an effective social media strategy from a source other than me. In today's video, I'm breaking down a course I recently took on Adobe Digital Academy. The course is called Social Media and Content Strategy on Coursera, and it teaches you exactly how to create an effective social strategy for your channels. I'm going to be sharing some of the most useful takeaways that I learned so that you can learn them too. And when you're ready to dive into the course yourself, you can of course head to the link in my description. Adobe Digital Academy is available on Coursera, YouTube, and LinkedIn Learning. The first section I want to dive into is called Using Social Media Trends to Your Advantage. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Jade, you always talk about social media trends. You're right. I'm actually about to film a video on social media trends in like 30 minutes time. And that's why I wanted to focus on this section of the course, because there were some little nuggets in there that I thought were very interesting and really changed the way that I view social media trends. So I reckon it might do the same for you. I also want to give a shout out to Adobe Digital Academy's Design Fundamentals with AI course, which is available on YouTube. I'll put a link to it below. This is another course that I took and I thought it was incredibly helpful, and I feel like you guys would love it. So this section is in module 2 and it covers a bunch of different elements of trends in general. It talks about how you can spot trends, how they're made, the fact that the best trends are time sensitive, more on that later. It talks about why you should participate in trends, but also more importantly, when you should participate in a trend. For the purpose of today's video, let's talk about a few key points. First up, when should you actually participate in a trend? This is such an important conversation because for a lot of us, we are constantly being told that we should just be hopping on trends left, right, and center without actually taking a second to think about whether the trend we're about to use is the right fit for us. So in this course, Adobe Digital Academy provides some guidance as to how you can select the trends that are best suited for you. It encourages to ask yourself a few questions. For example, does the trend align with my brand values? And if you don't have any brand values, then write some. Secondly, is the trend the right fit for my audience demographic? Remember, something that I harp on about all the time is that if you're going to use social media to build a brand, then everything you create should be audience centric, right? All your content should be created with your audience in mind. And lastly, and personally my favorite, is it possible for you to create this trend in time? Now, this is my favorite because it's a build on another point that this course makes earlier in this section. It talks about the importance of the time sensitivity of trends when it comes to whether or not they're worth you jumping on. And I don't think this is actually discussed enough. Let's think about a trend together, right? The first trend that comes to my mind is a trend that a lot of brands were doing where basically they would snip two videos together. In one video, someone was kicking a bottle, so then they would snip it with another video where one of their members of staff would be whacking the bottle back out of screen. So it kind of felt like those two trends were interacting with each other, right? The thing is about that trend is that it was popular about 6 months ago. So if I came across that trend now and I noticed it got lots of engagement, I might see that and think, this fits my brand values. This is right for my audience. Let's do this trend. But the truth is, it's actually not the right time because the trend has run its course, which means if you jump onto it and you utilize it and you do it in the best way possible and it's super funny, that won't matter because the trend is no longer trending. Trends are time sensitive. So back to that third question that you should ask yourself, are you able to create the content for this trend in time? For a lot of you guys, the answer would be no. Honestly, for me, the answer is often no. That is why I actually rarely create like trending content, because I create and batch and schedule all of my content 2 weeks in advance because that's the only way I can keep up with my other businesses and remain consistent. So by the time it takes me to find that trend, film the content, schedule it, I'm already late. So be honest with yourself. Are you the same? Let's move on to the next section that I want to deep dive. This section is called What to Post and When. Now, obviously you guys knew that I had to focus in on this section because honestly, one of the main questions I get asked left, right, and center is like, I don't know what to post and I don't know when to post it. Even though this might feel like a really simple question that you have to answer, it's often the one that will keep us stuck the longest. If you don't know what you want to create or what you should be creating, how are you supposed to create it? Okay, so let's get you unstuck by diving into this section of the course. So this section actually covers a wide variety of areas. It talks about how social media could be used to build a brand. So for example, by increasing your awareness, by driving sales, etc. It also talks about how to pick a social media platform based on your audience demographics and behavior. It talks about optimizing and setting up your profiles properly, the importance of balancing promotional and non-promotional content, community management, customer support, the best time to post, how often to post. Honestly, the list goes on. It is a chunky section. For today, I want to focus on one key element of this section, and then of course, click the link link in the description and you can join the course and consume all of it. The bit what I want to focus on today is very close to my heart. And that bit is about balancing promotional and non-promotional content on your social media channels. Now, I need you to listen to me carefully, okay? Because it's one of my biggest bugbears. When you start a social media channel, and the core purpose of you starting that channel is to help you promote your brand, whether it's a personal brand or a big brand, whether you're selling a product or a service, it doesn't matter. The temptation for you to flood that channel with purely promotional content, photos of the products you sell, information on the packages of the services you sell, that temptation is going to be strong. I'm going to need you to ignore it. Okay. According to Adobe's Digital Academy, only 20% of the content that we share on social media should actually be promotional. The rest of your content should be focused on educating or entertaining your audience or just generally providing value. I love when I read something from professionals that aligns with what I've been saying for the last 5 years, because I just feel like it's such, not vindication, it's not like someone told me I wasn't right, but like, I don't know, it really bolsters my confidence, you know? You have to balance your content effectively, because if you don't spend the time to create an engaged audience and a community, then no one's going to be ready to buy from you. You can't jump that stage and just immediately and exclusively sell to people who haven't had the chance to fall in love with you yet. The final section of the course that I want to talk about is all about your metrics. Specifically, how to adapt your social media strategy using metrics. Now, I wanted to put this one in because this is the one that most of you are going to want to ignore, but it's one of the most important elements. Your metrics, your analytics, they are your superpower when it comes to creating an effective social media strategy. Now, this section of the course is pretty chunky. It covers everything from platform trends, audience behavior, the rise of short form content, how to use hashtags strategically, how to utilize your data to actually build a long-term strategy. Like, it is a chunky section. Right now, I want to zero in on one specific area. Now, this area is about the importance of using your social media metrics and analytics to actually make changes and make decisions. So, a trap that a lot of us fall into is we keep an eye on our analytics and that's kind of it. So we look at analytics and we're like, oh, okay, that's how we're tracking, or like, oh, we're not doing as well, or maybe we are doing as well. And then we just leave it there. We are missing a trick. Let me paint you a picture. Back in the olden days, when social media wasn't a thing, a lot of brands would invest in TV advertising. And when they did that, they would wait for like 6 months before they could get any form of data that told them that the ads were working. Like, that's how long it would take to get data on some of your more traditional forms of advertising. In the age of social media and digital marketing, we can get that information almost immediately, which means on a monthly basis, we should be looking at our analytics and we should be using the results to actually take action. Certain formats are performing better than others. Great, focus on those formats. Posting at a certain time of day is getting you better engagement. Great, start posting at that time of day exclusively. Okay, you've got to pay more attention to it. And on that note, the course talks about different metrics that you should be focusing on. And I think this is a section that I really want you to dive into when you actually take this course, because a lot of us think that the only metrics that matter are the ones that the platforms give us. For example, if you opened up your Instagram analytics, right, you would immediately see your reach, your engagements, your follower count. The thing is, if you are running a business that's trying to get website visits and sales, you also need to be tracking things like your click-through rate, also known as your CTR. That's the percentage of people who actually click on your links. You also want to be tracking your conversion rate. That's the percentage of people who actually buy from you, right? There are more metrics beyond the ones that you normally see, and this course will help you navigate them. So if you want to dive deeper into the topics I've mentioned, but also into how you can build your own social media strategy, head to the link in my description. Don't forget that you can get started on Adobe Digital Academy on Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, and YouTube. So you can learn at your own pace and, of course, apply it to your work. If you feel like hanging around, I recommend watching this video. It's all about how I created this reel. So it's the full behind the scenes of that reel from start to finish, the kit I used, how I scripted, all of it. It's very, very in depth. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.